Have you ever been scammed before? It is very, very scary. And this is why I compiled a list of 6 things that you should really think twice before disclosing in everyday situations. 1 in 5 people over the age of 65 have been scammed. And if you put that in the dollar signs, it's $36 billion lost. Can you imagine? So grab your retirement journal and write down some of these things so that way you're being mindful about them every day to make sure that you have a safe retirement. Number 1, of course, is financial information. It might be tempting to kind of discuss things and brainstorm some of the details of your finances with other people, especially if you are asking for help and consulting with others. As an example, your mortgage information, your home ownership is absolutely public. People can find information about what kind of mortgage you have and even figure out the outstanding balance. My suggestion to you here is to make sure that you create passwords that are very unique and will be hard for others to understand and steal. So that's point number 1. The second tip is try to use as little in terms of passwords as possible. So don't create different passwords for different things because it's only going to confuse you and then you're going to forget. Just create 1 or 2 solid passwords, and that is something that you just have to remember, and it'll be easy to do so. Another important point is I recommend that you check your credit on a regular basis to make sure that there's nothing on there that shouldn't be. The 3 agencies that provide credit reporting set up a website where you can pull a credit report for free from each of these agencies once a year. I'm going to link that website. My suggestion to you is set a reminder on your Google Calendar to be able to do that once a quarter. This way you are constantly checking your credit, but doing so from different agencies to make sure that there's nothing on those reports that shouldn't be on there. And the reason why it's so important is that if you have to buy a new car or you need to get maybe a new credit card or something else, more and more companies are checking your credit because that is your financial health score, and they're using that to make their decision. And also, if there are some issues on that report, you want to take care of them as quickly as possible because it can take a few months for those things to update and make sure that your report is back to healthy status. Number 2 is your home address. And yes, sometimes it doesn't make sense because if you are doing things like shipping and shopping on a regular basis, yes, that makes sense. But in sometimes when somebody is asking you for your address, stop and think and see if that makes sense and why do they need that information. One way of protecting your home address is setting up a post office box at the post office, or maybe doing so at the UPS store where you actually get a street address and people understand that it's an address versus a post office box at the post office. So just one idea. Email address is the third one, and that's a big one. As technology gets more sophisticated, this is what we're going to see. A lot of the times you're going to get phishing scams, and phishing is spelled with PH and not an F. And you're going to get weird scams, weird bills, weird invoices, lots of things that are going to come your way. So one way to help you ease your anxiety about it is to have more than 1 email address. So you should have 1 address as a suggestion for things that are important to you, and you don't use it for anything but that. Maybe your finances, and then you can have another address or 2 for everything else. If you want to subscribe to newsletters or use that address for shopping, that would be a separate email to give you a peace of mind separating things. And hopefully if you get scammed, it's only going to be on those emails that are not as important as your main priority email. Point number 4 is your phone number. You guys are probably familiar with getting robocalls and text messages and with the political campaigns, things are coming through and it can get annoying. I sometimes block when I hear that robocalls are coming through, and they've gotten more sophisticated because they're now using local numbers so that way you would actually answer the phone. So here I have 2 tips for you. If you want, you can get a Google Voice number and you can use that number to for marketing or for other things, and then keep another phone number just for you. And that Google Voice number can actually forward to your phone number. And when that number rings, you will know that this is probably something of a marketing. That's option number one. And you can just easily check that out if you have a Gmail account with Google. And tip number two that I have is simply don't answer your phone if you don't recognize the phone number. If it's something truly important, that person is going to leave you a voicemail, or they can send you a text message, and then you can return their call at your convenience. Number five is political and religious views. And I'm just going to leave it there and just let you know that if you don't feel comfortable to discuss this, if this is your point of view and you know it's only going to create heated conversation, then don't share those views with those people that you don't feel comfortable with. Number six are odd and quirky facts about you. These are a lot of the times that things that we use without even thinking about, especially in security questions. So don't share those informations. If you see some kind of like a quiz or a fun something online and you start filling out this information, I want you to kind of take a step back and think about it and see where that information is going to end up in the internet universe overall. So probably not a good idea. And a few bonus ideas for you. Number one is make sure that your phone is always locked. And yes, it can be a hassle when you're trying to get some information and you have to unlock it first. A lot of the safety features right now are, it's not just the PIN number that you enter, but you actually use your thumb, right? Your thumb print in order to unlock the phone, which is a good thing. And that means that all the information that you have on your phone, especially finances or apps or your email, is going to be protected. And the next point is trust your instinct. The first thought that is going to come to your mind when you're looking at something, if you're like, you know what, this looks fishy, this doesn't sound right, probably is not. So what I encourage you to do is before you act, stop for a second, think. If you want to consult with someone you trust, reach out to them. This way you can then process this information, whatever it may be, and then act on it in the appropriate manner to make sure that you don't get scammed. And the question that I have for you are maybe some of the ideas and some of the experiences that you have had. What are some of the safety measures that you put in place to help you have the peace of mind? And of course, that means you're going to have a safer and more comfortable retirement.